lights out, and we're racing here in MotoGP in Austin. It's a dynamic start on the factory KTM for Pedro Acosta. Marco Bezzecchi trying to go the long way around up the hill into the first corner. Acosta it is that will lead. Bezzecchi's made a great start, immediately up into second place. Gian Antonio's going the wrong way from pole position, and Jorge Martin already up into P3.
And Marc Marquez is the first of the factory Ducatis. It was a poor start too for Pecco Bagnaia, who was boxed in behind his teammate into turn one. So Marc Marquez fourth, Bagnaia is sixth behind Gian Antonio.
Surely he couldn't, could he? If you can put a move on here on Pedro Acosta and lead over the line, then it's game on for that elapsed leading record, isn't it, as far as Marco Bezzecchi is concerned? A real poor start to this Grand Prix for Digia, from pole to fifth.
Well, just wait until the run out of turn 11 to 12, because Pedro Acosta saw Aprilia's breezing past him on that straight yesterday. Surely that's what's in Marco Bezzecchi's mind now.
He said pre-weekend he didn't have a clue about this leading record, but it might be the forefront of his mind right now as Bagnaia comes from a long way back on the inside of Mia.
Oh, Acosta's wide.
Oh,
Acosta's wide!
How close was that? Pedro Acosta clipping the side of Marco Bezzecchi's factory Aprilia. Acosta's done so well there to stay upright and on two wheels. Tried to find a way through on Martin. Is the 93 bike of Marc Marquez, but Marco Bezzecchi's put himself into P1 here, and it is game on for this leading laps record.
That record is now firmly into view. Can Pedro Acosta do something about that? Marco Bezzecchi really only wants to lead at the end of the final lap. So close to both of the leading pair out of it, and of course it had to have delayed Martin. He must have had to check up too with the drama ahead of him.
Acosta did well to hang on to second place, really, because he would have had to have backed out of that contact, scary contact with Marco Bezzecchi. Bezzecchi then has to lead the first three laps of this Grand Prix to set this new leading record. He's on course. Look at the damage to Bezzecchi's Aprilia. You can see there the damage to the rear seat unit on the left-hand side of Bezzecchi's Aprilia. It's the Gian Antonio. That's payback. Now that is payback, isn't it, from Digia on Marc Marquez into turn 19. So Marco Bezzecchi then with a damaged factory Aprilia. The record is on. He has to lead another 2 laps then now in this Coda Grand Prix. To better Jorge Lorenzo's 11-year-old record of leading successive laps in MotoGP. Mission number 1 complete.
Marc Marquez versus Fabio Gian Antonio continues. This time it's the 93 up the inside. Gian Antonio taking straight back, and Pecco Bagnaia almost tripping over them.
Oh, this is spicy. This is really spicy. There's an extra race for this battle, isn't there, between Digia and Marc Marquez. They locked horns together, didn't they? Locked horns together throughout the sprint and the Grand Prix in Goiânia last weekend. They had close contact where they collided yesterday in the Grand Prix. But this battle has let Bezzecchi, Acosta and Martin clear off at the front.
Oh, Bagnaia up the inside now of Marc Marquez. They're all piling past him into that left-hander of 7. Marc Marquez so strong line through there. Of course, he's still got the long lap penalty to come. He's now back to 6th where he started this race.
Marc Marquez then does peel in to the long lap penalty loop. He was 7th when he came into the loop. He's already 3.2 seconds behind your race leader. He's just going to drop in here behind. Is that Raul Fernandez on the 25 Trackhouse Aprilia, just ahead of Fermin Aldeguer. So Marc rejoins in 12th, is it?
11th place.
Yeah.
6 seconds off the race win. Unless there's something truly dramatic, there isn't going to be an 8th Cota win for Marc Marquez, and he's watching Aprilia once again running away with it. Of course, Pedro Acosta is in there in between Bezzecchi and Jorge Martin. But I think we might already have the question of how serious Aprilia's title challenge is. We said last weekend, if Aprilia managed to deny Ducati here, then Ducati have a problem. Ducati have a big problem.
Martin then now on the inside of Acosta. Perfect time to ride on board. He's in a little bit hot. Acosta then just hugging in the inside line. He would have known, well, if you're out braking me up the top of the hill here, Jorge, are you going to run on? Because I'm braking as late as I dare on the factory KTM. So Martin's visit into the top 2 was a very brief experience. Now, we saw Jorge Martin. He was the only rider in the sprint yesterday to run the medium tyre. How much will that pay big rewards here today? Because his pace in the final laps of that sprint, yes, everybody else was on the soft, was electric. This is not a given here that Marco Bezzecchi is not going to be able to hold off Jorge Martin. If he can get through on Acosta, ample time, only a quarter of the way through this Grand Prix, Jorge Martin could be having a double win here in Austin.
Well, Mir hasn't even made it to his long lap penalty. Unfortunately, he's out, and that is, what, a 5th consecutive DNF for the 2020 World Champion.
That's his 35th Grand Prix DNF in 59 appearances for Honda. What else can you say? What more can you say? Joan Mir, desperate just to see a checker flag on a Sunday, isn't he? Marco Bezzecchi, well, he's used to seeing checker flags with nobody else in front of him of late in MotoGP, and at the moment the pursuing pack have got it all on here to reel Bez back in. He is now 0.8 of a second clear through split 2 on this, lap 6 of 20. This has already a bit of an air of inevitability about it, doesn't it, Lewis? Because, as we mentioned, once Bez gets into his rhythm, once he can get into his stride, there's no knocking him out of it.
And much like we saw in Buriram, surely his concentration will be sharpened by what happened to him in the sprint. Bezzecchi should have been on the podium in the sprint yesterday, crashed with a couple of laps to go, so that will be in his mind this afternoon, not to leave more points on the table, particularly with Marc Marquez mired in 10th place. Now, of course, promoted by the crash for Mir, still behind Raul Fernandez, but we're looking at a three-way battle potentially here for second place, away from the rampaging Bezzecchi. Another 2:02.1, another fastest lap.
Nobody's got the pace. Nobody's got the pace at all to go with Bez. Half a second quicker on that last lap than Acosta. Oh!
How did you say that?
Jorge Martin, well, heart in his mouth. Change of leather required, I think, for the Martinator at the moment, because that was a massive, massive scare. Fabio Di Giannantonio then jumps all over that mistake from Jorge Martin through mid-corner in that first corner. Front tyre completely caving in underneath the World Championship leader. Here is Ogura rampaging back into contention. At the moment, or so far this season, Ogura on the 79 Trackhouse Aprilia has not yet finished outside the top 6 in any sprint or Grand Prix, and he's going to be keeping up that proud record. This was a move down the hill into turn 11. That was not an easy move, but Ogura certainly made it look like it.
Passed Alex Marquez on the last lap, last time out in Brazil, passed him on the 9th lap here in Austin. Is he now going to cruise up to that battle for the podium? Acosta, Martin, Digia and Bagnaia, they're about a second and a half up the road from Ogura, who now has some clear track to try and eat into.
It's kind of equal gaps between your top 3 at the moment. 0.8 between Bez and Acosta, almost 0.8 in between Acosta and Martin, slightly closer between him and Di Giannantonio in 4th, down to just over half a second. What can Bagnaia then now do about Digia ahead of him? What can he do about potential back-to-back podiums here in Austin this weekend? Over the line we go. Ogura is absolutely motoring right now on that Aprilia. Once again, we are saying the exact same thing that we've said so often about the 2024 Moto2 World Champion. If Ogura could qualify better on that RSGP, there is without any question he has podium potential. Got to sort out his time attack. Here comes Ogura, who is very, very good right now, isn't he? On top of that Trackhouse Aprilia. Just look how quickly he's got onto Di Giannantonio here and Bagnaia. I mean, it's just a matter of time, surely, is it, before the Japanese rider just makes his Sunday even better.
And we know that Aprilia does not lack straight line speed, so Bagnaia and Di Giannantonio are going to have a big problem. Might not even get to the back straight. Look at Ogura, the corner speed he carries through turn 18, lovely. Straight up the inside of Pecco Bagnaia. A beautiful move from the 79, 5th, and he might get further up the road than that yet.
That is a quality move, that, by Ogura. He just had the better edge grip, the better turning, the better side grip, going through 16, 17 and 18. It lined him up perfectly. It was a pass he just had to take on Bagnaia going into 19, and just look how quickly already he's gapped the factory Ducati star behind him. So then that has now pushed up Ogura into 5th place. Fabio Di Giannantonio, you've got a bit of bother brewing here, mate. Di Giannantonio has not made any kind of significant move forward, has he, over the last few laps? Once he got into that 4th place, it looked like he was going to potentially be hunting down Jorge Martin. He was right on his rear tyre after Martin had the mistake at the first corner a few laps ago, but since then, once Martin regrouped, as Ogura's coming from a long, long way back here in the turn 12, and he's going to pick off Di Giannantonio. He's got the inside line, he squeezes Digia out to the paintwork on the outside, but Ogura had the inside line, and now we have 3 Aprilias inside the top 4. Could we? I mean, it's a long shot, but we might have an all-Aprilia podium the way it's going here in Austin.
Beautifully measured move that. Di Giannantonio tried his level best. He desperately wanted to drop that Ducati on its side, but he had a Trackhouse Aprilia in the Stars and Stripes of the United States firmly in the way. And already, Ogura is getting smaller and smaller off into the distance as we ride on board with the pole sitter Digia.
Acosta's obviously made a mistake in that first corner, because Acosta came over the line. He was almost 0.7 of a second clear of Jorge Martin. So having just set his fast lap of the Grand Prix on the last of Acosta, he's blinked and made the mistake. Martin through. We're on course for back-to-back factory Aprilia 1-2s.
And now that Aprilia 1-2-3 is very much a realistic opportunity, with Ogura next behind Acosta in 4th place. So he clearly overshot that first corner. It cost him a second in that first sector. And as Pedro Acosta now getting to fight right back with. He said on Friday the best way to race these Aprilias is to be ahead of them on the circuit. Has he got the kind of straight line speed that he can attack with?
This is going to be the mistake from Acosta. Just running in that little bit too hot there, wasn't he?
Yeah, I don't think he clearly wanted to drop that KTM on his side. He's already having a good look to his left there just to see where Jorge Martin is, because it was very easy after we saw in the first lap for Acosta to slot back into line and make contact with an Aprilia. He doesn't want to do that again. So this is now a four-way battle for 6th place, and unfortunately it's the plummeting Pecco Bagnaia who's coming under pressure.
Yeah, Bagnaia is really suffering. Those Michelin tyres underneath him are screaming for mercy right now, because Bagnaia has got Alex, Bastianini and Mark right on his exhaust pipe at the moment. Lap 15 of 20, 3/4 of the way through this Grand Prix, and it's Marco Bezzecchi now 1.5 seconds clear of Jorge Martin. That mistake on the brakes here in the turn 1 on the last lap was a 2:03.3 as Enea Bastianini goes on the inside of Alex, the beast, and now we know how good Enea is on well-worn tyres. He's not called MotoGP's tyre whisperer for nothing. So now Bastianini up into 7th.
Yeah, given how quickly Marc Marquez has caught him, Enea knows he wants a bite between himself and the world champion, because there's potentially a 5th place here for Marc Marquez if the next 6 laps go his way. Alex Marquez is the rider immediately ahead of him. He's now the rider alongside him, and Marc Marquez showing no brotherly love to Alex there, is he? Ogura's got a problem, Matt. I saw him dropping down the order. Ogura, left-hand side of your screens, is out of this Grand Prix. Desperate luck for Ogura, and that Aprilia podium lockout has just gone to dust.
Oh, that is shocking misfortune for poor Ogura. What has happened here to Ogura? Terrible luck. Head in hands for Trackhouse team manager Davide Brivio. Cannot believe what he's watching. Ogura sensibly looking over his shoulders to make sure he's not impeding anybody that's coming behind him. Ogura then looking down to his right hand, to his right handlebar. That is cruel in the extreme, isn't it, for Ogura, because he had come charging through the pack and looked like he was going to certainly have something late on, maybe for Pedro Acosta. So a dream Aprilia lockout on the podium has been ended by this technical issue for Ogura. As soon as he started to motor through the gearbox, let's have a listen.
Sounds like a bag of nails, doesn't it? When he's going up through the gears on the telemetry, but every time he shifted gear, it was an awful noise coming from the gearbox of that Aprilia. So he's now out of this Grand Prix. The 2 Aprilias left at the front of the race, though, are getting closer together now. That's consecutive laps where Martin has closed the gap. It was 1.8 seconds when he got past Acosta. It's now down to 1.2.
Jorge Martin, well, we saw late on yesterday in the sprint, he came from 1.6 seconds at one stage adrift of Pecco Bagnaia. He's found a couple of tenths on this lap to retaliate back to Marco Bezzecchi. Surely lightning's not going to strike twice, is it, for Jorge Martin, as we now come out of the final corner. Let's just check the gap between the 2 factory Aprilias. A 2:02.7 from Bezzecchi, better by 2:02.5 from Martin. Game on.
He doesn't have the tyre advantage that he had yesterday. Of course, when he was the only one on the medium rear, every rider in the field is on it today. So Marco Bezzecchi should have perhaps more of a fighting chance up against him than Pecco did yesterday if Martin does catch him. But we are on the penultimate lap, so surely it will take a mistake from Marco Bezzecchi to open the door for Jorge Martin. But Marco Bezzecchi did make a late mistake yesterday.
Yeah, and will Martin be mindful? Is it worth taking the massive risk when he's got 20 points in his pocket right now? Surely that's going to have to be part of his thought process right now. 20 points, back-to-back double podiums in Brazil and the United States will represent a phenomenal week as far as the Spanish rider is concerned. He'll want the win, of course, and if he can do, he'll try and take the win, but you also wonder whether he might just be a little bit risk-averse late on here. Will not want to throw away 20 points.
This is Alex Marquez, I think we're on board with here. Yes, it is, passing Pecco Bagnaia. So Bagnaia's troubles and his late struggles aren't over yet. He now loses 7th place. And look at Ralph Fernandez catching them in the background too. Pecco Bagnaia will be pleading for that checkered flag in a lap and a half's time. Well,
yesterday at this turn 11, Marco Bezzecchi tumbled out of 2nd place here in the sprint, but the records continue to tumble right now, don't they, for the 27-year-old Italian. We pick him up now, braking, going down through the gearbox into turn 12. 8 corners then standing between Marco Bezzecchi and another massive slice of history. Well, we posed the question, didn't we, in our season opener in Thailand. We did it again in Goiânia last weekend. It's still very early days in this year's MotoGP World Championship, but who is going to stop Aprilia, and who on a Sunday in particular is going to stop Marco Bezzecchi as he steamrollers towards that 5th successive victory?
And Jorge Martin to 2nd place, which will ensure that he's 4 points behind Marco Bezzecchi in the World Championship. Bezzecchi led the championship to Austin, lost it in the sprint yesterday. He's about to wrestle it straight back.
This is going to be the completion of 121 successive laps leading in the MotoGP World Championship. He takes back control of this year's standings as Marco Bezzecchi crosses the line. The Bezzecchi Blitz continues in MotoGP. He is your winner here at the Circuit of the Americas in Austin, Texas. It's another factory Aprilia 1-2. Jorge Martin crossing the line just over 2 seconds back in 2nd place. Pedro Acosta in his 100th Grand Prix start does take 3rd place, the final spot on the podium.
Utter domination then from Marco Bezzecchi as he makes it 5 straight victories in MotoGP, and another Aprilia 1-2 with Jorge Martin in 2nd. Pedro Acosta back on the podium ahead of Fabio Di Gian Antonio Marquez. Salvages 5th ahead of Enea Bastianini. Alex Marquez, Raul Fernandez, Luca Marini and Pecco Bagnaia inside the top 10.